We have with us Ted Mavrakis. He's a real estate uh, strategist and a very successful investor. So, Ted, um, first of all, what is the secret of your success? Let's begin with that.
The secret of my success is that I believe in goals.
Mhm,
Okay, I tend to believe in big.
mhm,
Um, I dismiss all the people that are the no sayers.
mhm,
So all those who say, "Oh, you cannot do it," or "It's too big, too much," I dismiss those.
mhm,
I believe that I work hard for what I do,
mhm,
and then I'm kind of give back to the community on my way that I feel it's necessary.
mhm.
So,
Because you are part of the community.
well, it's I support certain. I mean, it's very private to me, but I support like three families.
Mhm,
Okay, so during this time, which is a difficult time for all of
mhm,
us,
yeah,
and then I donate money to a church
mhm,
which is outside in South America,
mhm, mhm,
and I feel this is part of the blessing that is coming to me. I have to give back.
mhm.
So that's
Yes. So at one time, probably you were helped by someone, and then that helps you understand how important it is to invest, and how important it is to work hard. Maybe someone in the beginning recognized that you work hard and give you a chance.
absolutely, absolutely. This is very, very truth. Um, all along since I came to this country in 1979. Okay, and all along I just found people that they were willing to help me and support me, and you know part of what I am I owe to them.
Mm-hmm.
So
So before exactly like before, what was the wait, what was first of all, what was the help you the most? If you can say a little bit.
it's I mean I started I as a waiter. I used to
Mm-hmm.
be a waiter in the Greek town,
Mm-hmm.
and my dream at that point was to own my own restaurant. And guess what? I just met someone who believed in my dream, who believed in my ability,
Mm-hmm.
and gave me the money to start my own restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a true story.
Mm-hmm.
And in 1982, I just started with Giordano's in Evanston.
Oh, that's nice.
In
So
1982, relatively,
mm-hmm.
in basically, I came at the end of 79. I
Oh.
came, let's consider like the beginning of 80.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2 years, here I get my own restaurant.
Oh,
Actually, I was working as a waiter, and I just happened to figure out, okay,
mm-hmm.
it's part of the business, what it is. I knew all the aspects.
Mm-hmm.
The
Oh,
management is like more work, extra work,
mm-hmm.
and you just put your heart into
Mm-hmm.
that. That's all.
Mm-hmm. So you must have, very good at customer service.
Well, I did and I do still care about customers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I believe that you have to give them service and what's the right word? The product,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
and the quality
Mm-hmm.
if you want them to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that you don't make anything just on the first time,
Mm-hmm.
or just once you serve a customer.
Mm-hmm.
When you have repeated customers, that will make the difference.
Of course. So you said that another way um, when you cook something that you cook a waiter. So did you was there a point when you asked for something that you knew that you could do, and then you were given the opportunity?
Again, it's just you have to have a vision,
Mm-hmm.
you have to have imagination, And I would highly recommend that don't be short on your imagination. Imagination doesn't cost you anything, all right? And imagination is better than knowledge. Knowledge can take you from A to B. Imagination can take you all over, okay? So this is one of the things. So as a young man coming to America, I just imagined my world. I could see that I would be successful. I could see that I would work for myself. I would have my own business, okay? And as the Bible says, ask and you shall receive, right? So it came to the point where I needed the money, and I asked, and the people responded. Yeah. Back then, it was, my experience, which was in the restaurant business as a waiter, okay? But then Giordano's was the right company, the right product at that time, so it appealed. And so the person who gave me the money said, yeah, the product is good, you're young, and I believe that you will be successful.
So you were working in Freetown as a waiter, but McDonald's was it in Freetown, or was it like in a different part of
There was in Lakeview. They have a restaurant. Back then they had about 3-4 units, and so I got involved with them, and I lasted with them for 33 years.
Yes, there's a Giordano's in Rogersburg too, very close from Niles.
Yes. So that owner used to work for me. I trained him.
How did you move from restaurant industry, and then you saw the opportunities elsewhere? Because some people, they have the book learning. You see, you could use the book learning. Some people like book learning, and then it just like imprisons them. But
well, again, it just restaurant was one aspect. Okay, I thought to diverse myself. I saw that opportunity in real estate because the books that I read, they were all talking about the wealthy people. They had to do something with real estate. So that intrigued me. That kind of, put me in many, questions about there is something else besides the restaurant business. And I like to explore that. And that's what I did. I remember someone introduced me the Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, the book, and that's basically boosted me with confidence and the belief that whatever, I think I can do it. Okay, and then through the books, I realized that wealthy people, practically everybody, had in their portfolio real estate. Okay, and so I just agonized myself how, like, where can I find properties that are for sale? Okay, and I kept asking. I went to a real estate office and I said, I like to find out where can I find those lists of the properties that are for sale. And I remember someone says, get the Chicago Tribune, Sunday Chicago Tribune, and it's there. And I went and I got the Chicago Tribune, and I couldn't find them. And the next week, I went and bought another one. And back then, the Chicago Tribune was, a huge paper, and it has like the different sections. It was the sports sections and whatever. And I remember it's like different people would buy the paper for different reasons. I was buying it to find where all those interested people selling their properties, they listed those. And to tell you the truth, it took 6 months. I couldn't find them. And I felt embarrassed to go and say, by the way, I cannot find them where they are. So finally, after some time, after 6 months, I got my break where I find the properties, the investment properties for sale in a section that, I mean, it was not even where it's supposed to be.
Where was it? Where was it then?
It was totally unrelated, 2 pages, 3 pages at the back. There was a page with properties, investment properties for sale. Okay, then anyways, I kept buying the properties, mark the properties, go back. Then it was difficult because you had to go and, drive to see a property, right?
Yeah.
And I remember the first one, I bought 5 stores and 16 apartments in Uptown. So, and that was my first property that I bought, which is, still, I don't know if it's still there after so many years. And
What was the street that
Leland, Sheridan and Leland. It was a corner place. And to my surprise, the owner was Greek American. And so we find something in common there.
Yes.
Okay. And I ended buying the property. So, and I managed it myself after the hours of the work that I had at the restaurant. I would go there and take care of the property. Yeah. I kept it for quite a long time, and then I sold it and I made some profit. Yeah.
So you mentioned before that every 10 years a property with a value approximately. So you kept that property for how many years?
I kept it for 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
And but when you sold it,
Correct. So what I did then, I bought some apartment buildings in Rogers Park. Clark, I remember Clark and Tui, the southeast corner. I bought that corner, and I bought a few other properties along on Clark Street. And Clark Street and Rogers Park, simply because they were convenient and close to Evanston. So I didn't have to drive too far to go and see the property. So at one point, yes, I had a lot of apartment buildings there.
So it was just in a kind of, it was close to everything, or was the price very, was it a good value?
Both. It was important. The proximity was important to me, so I didn't have to travel too far. Okay. And then, of course, I just looked for the right price. I negotiated hard for the price, and I noticed at one point I bought a property farther down. I don't remember the number again on Clark Street, because I owned that Pratt and Clark also, and then farther down. So I felt at one point that I would buy the whole Rogers Park there. Okay. And I remember the seller was a fireman who was retiring. And I asked him, I said, how long do you own the property? And he says, 20 years. So, wow, okay. And then I bought it from him. But then, the business, the restaurant, I also was expanding on that. After I got my first Giordano's in Evanston, then I opened a second and I opened a third. And that took a lot of time and kind of, took me away also from the properties. So as a result, I kind of diminished, and I sold some of the units, and because I was concentrated more on the restaurants. Back now, looking back, I don't think it was the right decision. If you ask me again now, with the knowledge that I have, I would rather expand on the apartments and the properties and less on the restaurant. But, for that time, I chose to do that, and I have no regrets.
Of course. So, how do you determine if the value of the property? How could you tell that there is a value in it is a good price?
Again, it's even today, okay, it's called underwriting, okay, where you just, you look at the property, you look at the location, okay, you look at the structure, but more or less, what is more important is the numbers. The numbers, they have to work, right? And so you start with the income. Each property, it has certain income. So you take that income, okay, and you figure out the expenses, whatever it is. Okay, I mean, whoever sells the property must have those numbers. Okay, you ask. It's like, okay, let's say there are today I look at the building and it has 33 apartments, right? And each apartment rents for $1,000. Okay, that's 33,000 a month.
Right.
And there are also 3 commercial stores, and each pays like 5,000. That's 15,000 plus 33. Okay, makes it 30, 48. Okay, that's the income monthly times 12. That's the yearly income, right? Then you ask, okay, you pay the electricity, right? How much is the electric bill for the year? And they say, okay, 5,000, 10,000. Okay, what else do you pay? You pay water. Okay, how much is the water? Gas. That's the utilities, right? Then the property taxes. How much is the property taxes? And so insurance, maintenance, okay, upgrades.
How about the maintenance? How could you tell how much maintenance is necessary? Do you have to bring in a person like to check it out?
It's called, once you make an offer, there is a due diligence. In that due diligence, the seller allows you to go there and figure out, I mean, he's giving you some numbers, right? It's your obligation to go and confirm those numbers. If you cannot figure yourself, you bring a friend who has that experience, or you pay someone, a professional, and he comes and he tells you this. These numbers are, I mean, you can confirm more or less these numbers, because you're asking like, okay, you say the ComEd bill, okay, is 1,000. Okay, let me see your bill. The existing, the gas bill, the water. Absolutely, this is part of the due diligence. Okay, so at the end, before you buy the property, you know exactly your numbers. You may be up and down 1%, but you know the numbers. Now, you have to go and visit and see that. But then there are companies, they're not very expensive, that you hire one guy who can come and advise you that boiler has another 10 years life expectancy, okay? Or this boiler within a year is gonna break, the hot water tank, the roof. I mean, he goes up there and he gives you a report. So that's easy. That's very easy to do. So when you underwrite the property, basically, you look at the income. One side is the income, okay? Whatever it is, that's one line. The other are the expenses. The expenses can be many, many lines, right? And so if someone manages the property properly, those can be relatively good. If someone doesn't manage the property, properly, those can be, so that's why sometimes it's important when you look at those numbers, if you feel that, hey, if I buy the building, I can run it better than him, that's to your advantage. But those are the numbers that you're making your, what's the name, the calculations and the decision to buy the property. Common sense says the income has to be more than the expenses. Okay. There is, for certain type of properties, there is a different formula. Okay. For apartments, maybe like 40%. So from whatever you make income, 40% will be utilities, expenses, whatever else, right? But that, it varies. Okay. It's not standard. But for you, when you make the decision to buy the property, one thing is the income have to be more than the expenses,
Mhm.
okay? Because that's what you buy. You buy the cash flow,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so within that cash flow, then you figure out, because you're doing a financing, right?
Mhm.
And so you see the numbers, how they work.
Mhm.
Because if I give you a property, even for free, and it doesn't have income, or the expenses are more than the income,
Mhm.
where are you going?
Right.
Okay. But again, it's like, let's say you work, you have a job, and you work and you make $200 a week, and you go to the grocery and you're spending 250. Can that be?
Nope.
No one has to teach you, listen, you're making 200. When you go to the grocery, it has to be 100 or less, because besides the groceries, then you've got rent, you've got other expenses, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
I mean, yes, there are people that they cannot figure out, hey, I make 200 and I spend 250, and they have to go and see a professional to advise them.
Mhm.
More or less, the average person, common sense, is there, where it says, hey, for whatever I make, I have to spend less, or manage to spend whatever are my needs
Mhm.
in order to go through.
Mhm.
The same thing here. You buy, it's an investment, you buy property, okay, where you look at the income, you look at the expenses, and some of them historically, let's say they have too much expenses
Mhm.
that, they're almost close to the income,
Mhm.
then that deal is not good.
Mhm. Mhm.
So just it's a numbers
Then,
game.
but it was two questions. If you really want to investment with seller, or
Okay,
just find another property.
usually what I do, okay, number one, no matter what he's asking, that's fine. That's his price.
Mhm.
Okay, he's entitled to that.
Mhm.
Okay. When I look at the property and I look at the income, I look at the expenses, I just work out the numbers, how they would be good for me.
Mhm.
And based on that, that's what I offer him.
Mhm.
Sometimes, they say, go. I mean, you're crazy. Okay, I don't have to buy. There are so many. I don't. Usually, I make like I don't know, 100 offers just to buy 2, 3 properties.
Mhm.
You understand that? Which means you don't have to buy it. There are plenty.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
only gonna find, or you're only gonna buy the one that works for you,
Mhm.
because the last thing you want is to buy property then that you cannot pay
Right.
the what's the name, the expenses.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna lose it. And what's the point of all going through? Okay, so I'm not offended by the seller price.
Mhm.
That seller, he can ask the sky.
Mhm.
I have to see how it works for me, which actually tonight, after this interview, I'm about to make an offer.
Okay.
Okay, I'll send an offer, and for a property that I saw in Evanston. Okay,
Mhm.
and if you see the price that they're asking, again, it's expensive. Okay, that doesn't scare me.
Mhm.
I'll make an offer that is going to be good for me, so I can, make money.
Mhm.
Okay, or pay the bills and make money.
Mhm.
Okay, and if they accept it, fine. If not, fine again.
Mhm.
There are so many. It's not the only one.
Mhm. So, what's the bank?
Basically, the bank confirms your homework.
Mhm.
Okay. Sometimes, I mean, what the bank is looking for. After you do few deals,
Mhm.
you figure out the bank. First of all, the bank gives 75%
Mhm.
loan to value.
Mhm.
Okay. So if you buy a property for, let's say, $1,000,
Mhm.
the bank is going to give you 75,
Mhm.
750.
Mhm.
The other two, so they require, it's by the rule, by the law, whatever, right?
Mhm.
That you need to come up with your own 25%. They're going to give you 75%.
Mhm.
But then the numbers, they have to work.
Mhm.
So it would be naive, it would be not smart on you to go to a bank with numbers that they don't work.
Mhm.
Then say, hey, I mean, the bank is going to say, how are you going to pay us?
Mhm.
I mean, the what's the name? The building itself has to cash out where it pays the bank and leaves few dollars for you. These are, you know, again, it's just going back to, you know, your job. You're making 200, you know, you just make a budget. You just spend so much for food, so much for your car, so much for this, okay? And you just have it there. The same thing with a building. So when you go to the bank, let's say you were not good putting the numbers properly. The bank also will tell you this deal doesn't work. Okay, so it's almost like a filter, extra filter to protect you and protect themselves. So for some reason, if you feel like, okay, are my numbers good or not? When you go to the bankers, they have that experience because they do deals every day, right? They see the same type from different people, of course. And the minute they're going to see the numbers, if they don't work, they're going to be the first one. We're going to tell you, this deal doesn't work. These numbers don't work. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. You ask them, you know, all kind of, I mean, when you ask like, this is the income, right? They have 30 tenants. Are all the tenants pay on time? Okay. Are there tenants that they don't? Are there other circumstances? I mean, you ask all kind of questions, okay? He may not tell you the truth, but if you pay attention, okay, and in your due diligence, even you may allow to go, I mean, and see some of the tenants, talk to some of the tenants. It's up to you. You can make it 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months. It's part of the negotiation. If I'm the seller, I prefer a shorter due diligence because I want to finish. If you're the buyer, you want it a longer one so you have enough time to go through and do your due diligence. Of course, you have to understand, even if you get too much of a due diligence, I mean, whatever you are about to find in 1 month or two, okay, that's enough. So you don't need 6 months. Okay, so it's part that it's open. Yes, that's a misrepresentation, and you can have have a language in the contract through your attorney. You're going to have an attorney who's going to help you do the closing to say that that's a misrepresentation. Yes. No. Again, this real estate business is a game, like every game, like baseball. If I put you in a baseball game and you have no idea, right? You're not gonna play well. You're not gonna win because you don't know the rules. Real estate is a big game. Number one, before you get involved, you need to find the rules. Okay, the rule is how to find it, where to look, the location. That's where they say, what's the number one ingredient or whatever, number one in real estate? And they say location, 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 right? So it's important because you don't want to go and buy a property somewhere that there is no traffic, there is no, it's a remote. So you want to buy a property that the location it's good, right? This is as far as the property, okay? But then it's going to come down to, okay, I want to buy the property, we need money, okay? There are different ways to do the financing. You can get your brother, your sister, your neighbor, whatever, and they all put money together and you buy it, right? The classic way of buying real estate and the best way is to go to the bank. And then, of course, you have to find out the rules of the banks, okay?
How did you learn the rules of the bank?
I just ask. Okay, I mean, you go to a bank and you say, okay, I wanna, buy a commercial property. What are the rules? Because the rules is not only on the percentage, okay, also. So you go to a bank and say, well, I'm thinking to buy a property, okay? Think about it. The bank has money, okay? That's how they make money. And they want to loan that money. Of course, they don't give it to anybody on the street. They say, hey, come over, I'll give you money, right? But it's like in my restaurant business, I was selling pizzas to make money. The bank sells money, okay? They need to sell to give that money, right? So you go to any bank today, you walk, say, okay, I'm thinking to buy a property, okay? What's your requirements? And a banker will sit down and say, okay, find the property. We will give 75% of the price or the appraisal value, okay? And the other 25, you need to come up with your own money. Then you have to ask, how much is going to cost me? What is the interest rate? And they have to tell you 5%, 6%, 4%. And then the length of the amortization, like how long it's going to take. They tell you that this is, even by phone, they can tell you. But when you start and you are in the business, okay, says, okay, first of all, I have to, you don't go to the bank and say, okay, will you give me money so I can go and find the property? It doesn't work. You need to find the property. You need to have a contract, okay, signed contract. You need to go to a bank and you have to say, Mr. Banker, I have this contract signed, okay, I need money. And this property is like $1 million, let's say. Based on the rules, you're going to give me 750, I'll pay the 250. And that's how you do it. And on the 750, of course, you negotiate with the bank. How much interest you're going to charge me? And they can say 5%. So can you do better? Well, I think we can do better. And it's up to negotiation, okay? Of course, if you do many more deals, then you know already. By now, this time, I don't ask those questions because I know my banks, what interest they charge. Of course, I work with different banks now, where certain deals, I bring it to one bank, certain deals, I bring it to another bank, okay? Yes, the way they do business, some of them, they have bigger volume, they're bigger banks, okay? Some of them, they're smaller. Some of them, they're just local bank. Then Chase Bank it's a national bank, it's an international bank, it's a different thing. Correct. Community bank, yes, yeah, because also the banks, they have a limit how much they can give. So, I mean, there is a bank that says, okay, our limit for one customer is like 2.5 million. If you go there and you're asking 5 million, it doesn't work, okay? But there are other banks that they have that capacity. Yes, they can do anywhere, even outside of state. Yeah. Again, to buy property, there is that myth that exists that you need to have money to buy real estate, to buy properties. That's wrong. Okay. Yes, it helps you if you have money, but that doesn't necessarily mean if you don't have, you cannot buy properties. And that comes the creative way of buying real estate. Okay. Many people have done it. I have done it myself. Okay. And there are more and more creative ways to buy. All it's required from you is the desire to buy or be involved in real estate. people tend to think that, okay, money, I don't have the money, I don't have the knowledge, I don't have the connections, and on and on. Okay, they go the extra mile to invent and figure out why they cannot do it versus the opposite. Okay, because again, all it comes with a desire. It all comes with a wanted. And real estate, particularly in America, it's such a beautiful industry. Okay, it has so many advantages. And if you really truly want to be wealthy in America, you have to invest in real estate. It's going to take you there faster, easier, better. Okay. Okay. The timing as far as selling or buying, it's not determined by the weather, by the economy, or by third parties. It all depends on you. Okay. Back then, I was so much involved with my restaurant business where I felt a burden just to go and, also serve the properties. People, they had needs, they called, and I'm in the restaurant, right? So that kind of became not very pleasant for me. And I just sold it to get out of that, which that was an opportunity for someone else to buy it, okay? And that happens every day. So think about, like, when you try to buy a property, okay, it's not necessarily something wrong with the property. People think, oh, why he's selling the property? It's got to be something wrong. Nothing wrong. The wrong is with the person. Either, they get divorced, they die, they move, they got into other businesses, all kind of reasons, okay? So don't ask why he's selling. Ask why I want to buy it, okay? And so back then, I sold those buildings simply because, again, I was involved with the restaurants, and I thought I had a better control in the restaurants, and I didn't have to, go out there and do the real estate part, which I sold them. It wasn't like a good, there is no good time or a bad time, because some of the people now preach, okay, now the economy is not good, wait. There is no such thing. If you want the best time to get into real estate, today is today. Yesterday, it was yesterday. And tomorrow is going to be tomorrow. You understand that? Because there is not only one factor determines that. Yes, the economy is bad, but then the interest rates are down. And, the availability of the properties, and on and on and on. So wherever you are, at any age, whatever you do, if you say, okay, I want to be investing into real estate, and you ask the question, when is the best time? I would say today. And if you ask me tomorrow, I would say tomorrow. Again, it comes with the knowledge and your belief system. Back then, I thought if I am involved with the management, I would have a better, numbers, better result versus hiring a manager to do it for me. Okay, that's personal choices. Yes, I could have a manager run it for me. I would make less, okay, than compared to me, but still I would have the properties. Okay, these are personal choices. At the beginning, I was trying to do things myself, whatever I could do it. And if there was an issue that I couldn't handle it, then I would call a third party. And I prefer not big companies because, they're charging more. So I would have few handymen or few people that they have their own business, the individual ones, that I would call Peter, and if we had a plumbing issue, Peter, the basement is flooding, and he would come and take care of that. Nowadays that I have more properties, I have full-time 3 people, that's all they do. Okay, so now it's easier, and that's why I say the more you have, the easier it is to handle it.
What do you find you work? Because you and this is you have done something and then say that managing a property is something if they do it well, there's like so many properties, finding a good person to do like a repair job. Do you have any insight on this?
You have to go through different people, and the ones that they're not good, you're not going to call them back.
Of course.
The ones that they're good, you're going to stick. Okay. And yes, it's a challenge, but believe me, there are good people that they will serve you well. And a lot of people serve me well throughout the years. Don't worry on that when you decide to go on the real estate. Okay. And always ask someone else who also has a property. By the way, when you have a plumbing issue, whom do you call? And they say, oh, I have Peter. Well, would you mind? Can you give me his number? Or if you want an electrician, again, that's even today I practice that. Someone else who, he's in the same business like me. I always compare notes. By the way, who's your insurance company? Okay, are you happy? Says yes. Okay, what's their name? And then I call that insurance. Okay, and so that's how it works.
Earlier, you mentioned that there are so many advantages to real estate. There are the obvious ones, but could you tell us the less obvious advantages of investing in real estate?
Okay, in the real estate, it has this appreciation, right? That's something that is sleeping there. It's like a savings account, which you don't see it. You buy something for $200,000, and in 10 years, it becomes $400,000 and $500,000, okay? Which basically you can sell it and retire from that. That's very, very important. Then there is the depreciation, okay, because of the property that helps really. So again, it's a mechanism that makes money, and it's just so many derivatives there that they all help you. Either don't pay too much taxes, there is the appreciation, and there are all kind of ways to help you grow up financially, okay? And the most important thing that I see it is that the building creates income, which I call them passive. The ones that I work, I have a restaurant, right? I work at the restaurant. That income, okay, it's just, I earn it. That's earned income. And if you have a job, that's earned income. If you have a property, okay, the income are passive. So either you attend tomorrow or you don't, still at the end of the month, it gives you the money, right?
Yeah.
So believe me, at the beginning, I would highly recommend the people that they have a job and they work, okay, and they earn their money. If they invest in real estate and they start creating passive income, at one point when the passive income becomes equal with their earned income, then they don't need that anymore. Then they can sit and just receive passive income. At this point, most of my income are passive rather than earned. So this is only in real estate. I don't know where else you can, unless, I don't know, you in stocks or whatever, okay? But there is no appreciation there. That's a big, a big casino to me, the stock market. And you have no personal knowledge what's going on. Someone else decides whatever it is, and all the kind of manipulations that's happening. So I feel, real estate is a safe investment vehicle, to become wealthy. to have passive income and reach your goals, your financial goals.
Absolutely. Do you have time to describe a little bit about what happened in 2008, how it affected you, and then how maybe you came out better because of it?
Right. 2008 again, as the buildings and the market, it went down. It just found, and it's every 10, 20 years, it's like a correction. Okay. What happened is a lot of people went to the bank, and instead of getting, like, put in 25% versus 75%, the bank would give you 100% financing. Okay. And so what happens is you're loaded. It's like a horse, or usually in my old country, I used to have a donkey. The donkey can perform, but up to, let's say, 100 kilos. You put 300 kilos, what's going to happen? It's going to collapse. Okay. That's what happened. Everybody, okay, was in a big euphoria. Okay. And they went with the same with the houses. You would go and you buy like $300,000-$400,000 house, and you only put 3,000. No. Okay. So basically, if you go, that's why there is this rule. Okay, where if you load it and you get more than or equal to the value, then with a little, correction there, you find yourself, and particularly the banks, all the sectors, okay, it just whoops. And so people lost their properties, developers, I remember a developer, a friend of mine, who he was just buying big lots to develop it, right? He was paying like $5 million for a lot. Okay. And of course, he was selling in advance before even he builds it. Now, suddenly, because of the economy and everything went down, people stopped buying. And of course, he was 100% financed. Okay. And the banks, they start calling the loans. Of course, he had nothing. Of course, then the banks got into a problem and the whole thing tanked. So again, when the things are good, we tend to forget the rules and the breaks that they're there that exist, and they exist for a reason. Okay, we go beyond that, and then the bad thing happens, and then we go again. Okay, it's like the barbarians, like where every 5 years they used to come, okay, and ruin everything, and people got used to. And of course, then a year they stopped coming, and then the people says, now what we're going to do without the barbarians? Okay, I don't know if that story, has any appeal there, but I see it's that when things are good, we tend to forget all the breaks and the reasons just to be careful. Okay, and we expand. The banks give more money. Okay, there is this leverage, whatever it is. It's like a margin buying stocks. Okay, you borrow too much, and when there is a correction and the price goes down, then they call the margin, and then you are without the property, so, or the stock. So again, it's just this is personal judgment. Okay, you need to be aggressive, you need to think big, but at the same time, you need to stick to the rules and the cushion. Okay, I mean, if you have to be able to say, okay, if tomorrow rains and I cannot go out to the market to buy, what happens? Well, today that I go to the grocery store, I have to buy also for tomorrow or for the week. Otherwise, if a storm comes and I don't have, to go out there, at least I have for 2-3 days to survive. It's the same thing. It's a bigger picture in the economy and in real estate. It is, and it's obvious, okay, because like right now, it's like the houses, okay? You look in Florida, for instance, they list a house for $1 million, right? You make an offer and then it sells more than the listing price. That is not right, okay? There is a frenzy, there is a bubble there that is building. So I guarantee you, if you buy a house in Florida today, in 2-3 years from today, you're gonna regret because that doesn't represent its value, okay? So you need to be able to sense that, okay? It's like those cycles, they repeat again and again, okay? So I don't need to scare an investor, okay? But based on the numbers, right, today, you don't want to go and buy shopping centers because things have changed, right? The shopping centers with this internet now, with COVID, and people start, ordering from home and Amazon, things have changed. You need to be able to adjust to that. So if today you go and buy a big shopping center, you're not gonna make it. So is this common sense? Is this, smart? Some people are better than others, okay? But again, common sense, will prevail. I did, and it worked out good. But now I won't touch them, okay? So and you understand now, it's very hard now housing because it's a short. Apartments and houses are kind of short, okay? So if you invest there because there is a demand, of course, whenever there is a demand, the supply will come and meet. It's going to take a little time, right? The developers now, they're going to get permits, they're going to go and build apartments and houses, and it will be at the time where the supply will meet that demand. Right now, there is a demand for apartments and houses, right? So I like to invest in that sector for at least, the next 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is, okay? That I feel like I will have a tenant to pay me the rent.
Did you sell your shopping centers at the time?
Again, it just, I have different type of properties, okay? I have office buildings, I have strip centers, and I stay away from the apartments because also the apartment buildings, they require more management. And I wasn't too much on the management companies. I was personally involved. So there are certain choices that you decide to follow in real estate. Some people buy, fix it and flip it, or whatever it's called, right? Okay, some people buy it and hold it, okay? There are all kind of different ways to invest in real estate and make money. Each one, it has its own merits. And I would say whatever you like, you choose that.
I called the real estate company and once and they didn't call me back. It's I left a message and they emailed me saying that they would contact me for feedback.
Correct. So this is very typical, okay? This is not professional people. I can tell you they're not gonna do very well. Someone who's in real estate, okay? Of course, if you would have a chance to see on their internal meetings, they would say, oh, we're not selling a lot of properties. Well, you don't sell because you don't even respond, okay? But I would say, don't bother with this. You just call and you call again, left a message. If they don't respond, it's okay, okay? I mean, these are the people that they're not professional. Most of them, most of the real estate companies, they answer within 24 hours because unless they have a sale, they don't have business. Now, correct. For you to call and someone in real estate not to answer, again, it's everywhere. It's like a sale, okay? But that's not good for the real estate company. But tell me about the property that you found. What kind of property is it?
1.2 million or something, and it's let's see, 1.99 million is like a 13 unit building, and but kind of close to the lake,
Okay.
and multifamily, and you have the details here.
No, it's okay, but you know, I don't
Yes,
need the details.
13 units, I think.
13 units, okay. Again, number one rule when you go to buy apartments, it has to be more than one door. Remember, I told you the last time?
Yes.
Because with one door, if he leaves, you have an empty place. Okay. With 13, it's like you diversify your risk. Okay. That's number one. Number two, if you have only one or two, it doesn't give you the capacity to have a manager or a management to manage it for you because it's too small, right? So that's why the bigger, the better, because the scale of economy here, right? And then you have to look, okay, there are 13 units, it sells for 1.9. And if you look at other properties, again, all this information it's in there. All you have to do is spend time, okay? You find out how much other properties, you know, about 12, 13, 15 units, how much they sold within the last 6 months in Rogers Park. Through the internet, if you check, there are sites that they're going to give you that. If not, you just walk into a real estate office. Just walk into a real estate office and introduce yourself and say, I'm a real estate investor, okay? Again, nobody knows who you are, how much money you've got. There is nothing here that says, okay, I only have 50,000 in my bank account. You know, it's like what you're gonna present there. You just go there and says, maybe you won the, what's the name, the lotto. You've got like $10 million and you wanna invest in real estate, all right? So you come to my office and say, okay, help me understand the market. I'm looking for, you know, this type of properties. And I want to find out, okay, how much in this area, the same amount units are sold. And you may find that, okay, the same thing was sold 1.5, 1.4. They're asking 1.9. That's called comparables, right? And say, hey, this is expensive. You understand that? So you get an idea because how can I say it's like, okay, there are horses that they're for sale and each average horse, it sells for $1,000. Then someone comes and says, I'm selling this horse. How much? 3,000. You have to wonder, unless it's a different breed, it's from, I don't know, from the sky, from the moon. If it's the same horse like everything else, and they're selling it for 1,000 and he's asking 3, it's got to be a reason. Maybe he's going to say, you know what, this is 2 years old versus all the other are 15. Oh, that makes sense because they have a life expectancy, right? And so all the information that you need exists. All you have to do is look for. Now with a, what's the name, internet, it's easy, okay? Trust me, you put anything you want and it's going to take you there, okay? At least gives you a knowledge and an idea. Is this out of the market, in the market, where it is, okay? And then, of course, you know, when you get involved, you will find out. If you decide not to do anything, that's when you're going to be in darkness, right? I mean, is this through a broker or through an owner? A broker. This is the one who doesn't call you back, okay? Another way you can do is get another broker. Correct. And says, hey, would you represent me? I would like to buy that property. That he's going to be involved. He's going to do. It doesn't cost you anything to go and see a broker, talk to a broker, and spend time with a broker. And you're going to find out and pretend that you've got all the money in life. Don't say, oh, I don't have money. Okay. I mean, assuming that I ask you, go and find the property, and if you find a good one, I'll buy it. I'll put my own money. I'll buy it and I'll give you a percentage. So money is not an issue. You understand that? That's how we want to approach it. Because if you go there and says, how am I gonna buy this? I don't have the money. Okay? And then how am I gonna buy if I don't have the knowledge? And how am I gonna buy if. I take you, the number one if is the money, right? If you get a good deal, and it's truly good deal, and the numbers that work, I will get the money, and we're gonna buy it together. How about this? Okay. Correct. And so, correct. And that's why I'm willing, find the place, it's a good one, okay? We'll buy it, and I'll give you equity of this. So it will be, and then of course you can be the management, or you can, work out, because I don't have the time to go there and do all the work, okay? We'll go there, you collect rents or do whatever necessary, and here you're in real estate. Yes.
Those books were maybe like in the 80s, but still, is there any one or two books that really learned a lot from concerning real estate?
Kalispera. What I'm in the books like more or less Wayne Dyer, D-Y-E-R, Wayne Dyer. He just passed away but a year ago, 2 years ago. Okay, he's my favorite author. I have read almost every one of his books. Okay, and the books that don't talk about real estate, it's inspirational. Okay, these are the author that tries to make you believe in yourself, tries to tell you to act outside the box. Okay, and I love every one of his books. The Erroneous Zone and Think and Grow and all kind. I mean, he has like, he used to be at the what's the name, the public television. And when I went to see him in person at Rosemont, like I paid $90, and he had like, I don't know, 20,000 people there, right? And so these are the books that made me believe, in what I want to do. The rest, it's not so much the techniques. You learn that. It's like, how can I say it? Once someone tells you, don't worry to jump into the water, okay? Once you are there, you're going to figure out what to do. Move the legs, move the arms, and you're going to move forward. But it's important to someone to give you that confidence. Say, don't be scared of the water, okay? Because the water can be your enemy, and you can think, once I touch it, I will paralyze, okay? And then I will drown, right? Versus, he's going to teach you, no, the water, it's your friend. You can float, you can swim, you can embrace the water, okay? So it's how you approach things. So that's why I learned from Wayne Dyer. I feel he's my guru, okay? And it's like I'm happy and thankful, for all the things that he put there, stories. Like he used to be a teacher at St. John's University in New York, and he was unhappy. And then he went and he quit the job because he says, if you are what you're doing, you are unhappy, quit, okay? And figure out to do something that you love. Of course, he wanted to, speak to masses, okay? And so, but again, we all have the excuses. Oh, well, I need the check. I cannot quit. And he had 7 kids, okay? And he went to the dean at the university, says, I quit. Says, what do you mean you quit? Well, and the guy says, did you find another job? He says, no. What are you going to do? He says, I don't know, but definitely I'm not happy with what I'm doing. And every day that I come to work, I kind of unhappy. I want to, get out of that. And of course, he left, and then he wrote the books, and he became a public speaker. So this is what, believe me, changed me, transformed me in a way where I start believing that whatever I think, I can manifest. I owe this to him.
It seems to me like you have to understand reality enough to help you live your own reality. That's what it sounds to me like.
He's the one who teaches, or at least for myself, that you become your own, like the movie, it's like a script, okay? And so you're the director of your own life,
Yes.
your own movie, which is your own life, okay? I didn't have that. I used to blame the circumstances. I used to blame the system, the government, the employer, whatever it is, right? And then I realized that instead of looking outside, I have to look inside, okay? And that's when I find the truth and the strength. And that made all the difference. And I believe that I owe to Wayne Dyer. God bless him, wherever he is. Yeah.
Chinese people I'm Chinese, and the Chinese people also say that the worst thing to overcome is the human anxiety.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, Ted Mavrakis, successful real estate investor, thank you so much for interviewing with me today. We learned so much, and then maybe we'll do another interview in the future.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay.
This is really, really good. That's so helpful.
Good. You're gonna end it, right?
Yes. Yes.